This is another thing that I love about adolescents. I know it drives y'all crazy, but they speak in declarations. Everything's a fact. Everything's a fact. There is no, everything's a fact, you know? And that's, it kind of goes back to the perception and the reality. But I ask kids in my office, can something be a fact and not be true? And they're like, no. If it's a fact, it's true. And whatever I think is a fact, and therefore it is true. That's their geometry, you know, the A plus B, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't really prove anything to me. And I'll give you an example. Kids come in my office and they're stressed out and they're taking every AP class and honors class and, you know, whatever. And I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you taking all this stuff? Well, because the colleges require that I have this GPA, that I have to have a 4.5. I don't even know if that's still possible, but, you know, I want to have a 4.5 and I have to have all this extracurricular, and because I won't get into college unless I do that. All right, then I hear a declaration, then I hear a fact, right? So that is a fact that colleges want those things. That's the fact. But the truth is, you can get into college without having a 4.5. Do you see how that works? And we have to start speaking to them in those terms. We have to watch ourselves in that declaration process. I had a mother one time, not in Mountain Brook system, I had a mother one time in the 9th grade come in with her daughter and say, I need you to tell her. That never starts off well. I need you to tell her what she needs to do with these pictures online before she goes to Rush at Alabama some 4 years later. You follow me? The mother is so concerned about the child getting into a sorority at Alabama that she is already dictating what the child needs to be doing in a declaration. She's not going to get in a sorority if she doesn't clean up that Instagram. That sounds like a fact, doesn't it? And I don't know if that's true or not. But I will tell you this, I'm glad there was no cell phone when I was a freshman at Alabama, thank God. So we have to start speaking to them and questioning, is that true? Everybody's going. How many times have you heard that? Everybody's going. Well, I would bet, you know, Miss Smith's house doesn't hold everybody, so I would doubt that everybody is going. Speak some truth to me. Who's going? You know, break it down. Another one I like is if you take Snapchat off of my phone, then I won't be able to communicate with everybody because that's the way they communicate. And I just don't even understand that, really. Why don't they text? I mean, is that just so old school now that they don't even text, that everything is now through Snapchat, you know? No, I know. I mean, we were just like, whatever. But anyway, I will never be able to go anywhere or be with my friends if you take Snapchat off of my phone. That's a fact. And that probably is a fact. That's probably true because that's what they do. But the truth of the matter is, there are other ways for your friends to be in touch with you besides Snapchat. Get creative. That's the truth. So, and I know, and I hear it, and I know the power of them speaking in declarations, because what are y'all doing? You're going, man, is that true? Is that really? Because they're so convincing, you know? Well, everybody else's mom is letting them go. Really? Are they? Am I the only one do y'all do that in your head too, right? Do not be fooled by their fact giving. Okay? Help them start to look at what is true, because that's what you want. And that's what we're getting into. This is another one of my very favorites. I don't know how many of you have heard of the guy named James Clear. Has anybody heard of James Clear? He wrote a book called Atomic Habits, which, if you have not read it, is a fascinating, fantastic book. And some of the stuff that he writes, I read and I'm like, what? That just seems so obvious. And one of the things he talks about, and I think this is true at our age, and I think it's true at children's age, is that we are more focused on the goal than we are the identity of our children. You know, our children become very goal-oriented, aren't they? I want to do that. I want to be that. I want to get that. All of that is a goal, instead of who am I? And I don't think we've ever asked them, who are you? Well, you might have done it in a derogatory term, like, who are you? But in an effort to find out, we want them to figure out who they are. Not who they are in Mountain Brook schools, but who they are when they leave this place. What is going to go with you? Who are you deep down inside? The example that he uses, and I don't, you might not want to use this one with your children, but the example that he uses I think is brilliant. He said, if you are quitting smoking and somebody walks up to you and offers you a cigarette, and you say, no, I'm trying to quit. That's a goal. You hear the goal? I'm trying to quit. That's the goal, okay? There's a huge area between here I am and I'm trying to quit. And I don't know about you, but I hear the struggle in that too, don't you? I'm trying to quit. As opposed to an identity-based answer, when he says somebody offers you a cigarette and you go, no, I don't smoke. That has a completely different meaning, doesn't it? Now, you may have smoked yesterday, but now you are claiming that as part of your identity. I don't smoke. What is the identity of your child? Who are they in that respect? And how can we get them out of the goal world and into the identity world? I had to really think about, what are some other things like that? I think one of the things I thought about was like somebody who's vegetarian. They are not swayed by meat, right? It's not who I am. I'm a vegetarian. I was trying to get one of my clients to work on her self-talk too, and I said, would you ever do cocaine? She looked at me just horrified. She was like, no, I would never do cocaine. And I said, why? And she said, well, because it's scary and it could hurt me. And it's not who I am. I don't do drugs. She was very adamant about that. And I said, and yet you listen to this inner voice who fills you with fear and frightening things all the time, and you don't do things because you're so frightened. That's who you are, but you won't do cocaine because that's who you are. And I said, you can be really strong about this, but you can't be really strong about that. We have got to learn, that's who I am. I don't do that. That's not who I am. And so we have to help our kids be identity-based. And this is all moving toward the value conversation. Here's what we want them to know, generally, is that it's okay to be you. Do your kids know that it's okay to be them? That's a hard thought, isn't it? How do you know when it's okay to be you? Is it okay to be you? Is it okay to be you? Are there places where you don't feel like it's okay to be you? And what do you do to overcome when you don't feel like you? We want them to know that they don't have to be chosen or included to still be okay at being them. What are the chances of them always being included? What are the chances of that? It's not going to happen, right? And so do we set them up? I go back to what Dale was talking about when you go up to the school. Amanda was the cheerleading sponsor at Oak Mountain High School for years. And invariably, every cheerleading season, somebody didn't make it. Amanda has a great personality. Y'all know her. She's like, sorry, whatever. Yeah. And there was always a mama in the front office. I want to see the scores. You tell me why she didn't make it. She was a cheerleader yesterday. Why didn't she make it? And so what has that taught that child? Not only, my mama will go up there. It's not okay to be me. It's not okay to fail. That's the lesson that child got. It's not okay to fail. And I don't know about y'all, but some of my best moments have come when I was not included or when I failed and when I really had to dig deep and kind of figure out what to do from there. How do you act when your child fails or when your child's not included so that they feel okay to be them? It's okay to be you. We want them to know that it's okay to look different, to have different dreams. They don't have to be who everybody else is. They don't. And that's a value system They don't have to do what everybody else does. That's a value system. You know, everybody else has a place at Lake Martin. Why can't we? What are you going to say to that? Well, because I'm trying to pay your tuition to college right now, but, you know, whatever. But you don't have to have what everybody else has to be 100% good version of you. I feel really strongly about this last one. It's okay to not be okay. I get kids in my office all the time who say, well, my mom said me, she thinks there's something wrong with me. That breaks my heart, you know. One, because I believe in counseling and I believe it's good for everybody to have somebody to talk to. But I want them to know it's not normal for you to go through the rest of your life and not feel sad or not feel anxious or not feel depressed or not feel worried. That is going to happen. And so what's the first thing you do when your child said, oh, I just don't feel very good? What's the first thing we do? Go back to it's not the nail. What is it? What do we do? We're going to fix it. Well, come on, let's go do something. Let's get up. Let's go, whatever. What would be a better thing for us to say? I'm really sorry that you're hurting. I'm really sorry that you are feeling left out. I know that's got to be really hard. That is all you have to say. You do not have to fix it. And therein lies the lesson of it's okay to be you. It is okay to be you. And it is okay when you don't feel great. How often do you let them see when you feel sad? I think this goes back to how you speak to your children and how you model for your children. You know, what does your Instagram look like? You know, is it, you're not going to put a bad picture of yourself, are you? And we talk about this a little bit more, but I think that's one thing that they see in these, you know, when everybody posts is my life doesn't look like that. Why don't they invite me? Why I don't ever get to go to the lake. Do you see? It's always, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And what we have to let them know is it is enough. You are enough, always. Just because of who you are.